The face block is temporary. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome again to another day full of debates. Now, this is our debate for the Activities Chairperson shared role. And here with me, our participants are Carolyn Toon and Dominic Gerald from Ignovitus, and Yap Meng Ya and Sonia Siu, which are our first independent candidates for this election. So, we also have our office bearer, Nirain, which will be joining us for questioning later. And just a bit of a self-introduction. My name is Sean Pan. I am the returning officer for this year. And my teammate or deputy returning officer, Aditya Go, is behind the scenes managing the stream. We also have a few audience reminders just to keep comments respectful, no hate speech or anything like that. And you are also permitted to ask any questions you have in the comments at any time throughout the stream. There will be a time in the debate where we will present your questions to the candidates and give them a chance to clarify their manifestos based on what you ask. Now, let's move on to the agenda just so that everyone is clear about how the debate is going to be run today. Okay, so now we are having the introduction by Election Commission, which is what I'm doing. After we talk about the itinerary, we'll move on to the opening statements by Meng Ya, Sonia, Carolyn, and Dominic, which is basically their chance to shine and give you an idea of what their manifestos are. After their opening statements, we'll also move on to the Q&A by candidates. Meaning that Meng Ya, Sonia, Carolyn, and Dominic are going to question each other based on each other's manifestos. And after that, we will move on to Q&A by office bearer, Nirain. And after Nirain's questioning, we will go to the Q&A by the audience, which are you guys. After the Q&A by the audience, we'll also talk about our closing statements, both from Meng Ya, Sonia, and Carolyn and Dominic. And then we will finally end with a closing statement from the election. Yeah. So with that, without further ado, I would like to pass the mic on to Meng Ya and Sonia. Meng Ya and Sonia, the floor is yours for the opening statement.
Okay. A very good afternoon to the students, audience, Nirain, returning officer for this election, Sean, the DROs, Alithya, Dakshina, and the other candidates, Carolyn and Dominic. My name is Meng Ya.
And my name is Sonia.
And we're candidates for the Activities Chairperson position for the MUSA term 2023. We're grateful to be given the opportunity to be here in this debate session hosted by the Election Committee. With that being said, we would like to begin our opening statement with some of the initiatives that we have planned next year for MUSA and the students of Monash. As of 2023, some of our initiatives include Satu Monash, which is an event that fosters a sense of diversity and inclusivity in Monash, which is in par with Monash's vision of a united and harmonious student community. This event will be a stepping stone for international students who wish to explore more on the local Malaysian traditions and culture, as we observed that there weren't enough initiatives like this that could spread knowledge of our cultural traditions. Hence, we believe that Satu Malaysia will be an event that many students will be anticipating.
We also intend to host a meaningful event such as Monash Charity Run in aims of promoting a good cause for charities and organizations in need of support through active marathons or long distance walking. This is also inclusive of a music festival that will be held at the end of the event as a cool down session for the participants for them to relax after the long run. We might also consider hosting this music event as a separate independent event, but again, everything is still under planning and we will be executing more detailed planning if we do get selected as next year's Activities Chairpersons. But besides that, we also do intend to push for the Monash Carnival initiative since we believe that the aspects of this event fall best under the Activities Chairperson's department's capabilities. The reason is because we all know carnivals are usually large-scale events, and we believe that many would be eager to be part of this planning committee. So hence, we would be opening up this collaboration with clubs and societies for them to promote their clubs and upcoming events they have in planning. This Monash Carnival, to be more specific, it's going to include entertainment such as performances, attractive games, delicious food, photo booths, bazaars, and if possible, we would want to add a bouncy castle to enlighten the childhood mood within the students.
Furthermore, we also have MUSA Pen Pals, which is going to be yet another very interactive and engaging social event that we are excited to bring for the students, since it involves networking, building connections, and developing new relationships amongst Monashans despite their background or interests. Moreover, with the abundance of fresh ideas that we have, we do intend to retain some of the current existing events such as MUSA Wars. However, if we were to add some spice to it, we had thought on strengthening the office bearers through like the bond between office bearers through what we can do, which would be a MUSA trip. The difference will be that the event will be held outside of campus grounds, and this will show the student that the MUSA office bearers are still united even beyond the boundaries of work. We also think that it will be something that the MUSA committee would enjoy as a deserving reward for their constant hard work for our large Monash community of students. Additionally, we still aim to host our existing events such as Monash Got Talent, which is an event that aims to encourage students to step out of their comfort zone and showcase their unique individual talents to all walks of life in Monash. Of course, let's not forget about the most anticipated event of all, our annual Monash Ball, an event held for students at the end of the year after finals for them to commemorate the year. We're hoping to extend the invitation to those that graduated in the years of 2021 and 2022 so that they would get the opportunity to be part of one of our grander scale events. Lastly, we will continue our Musa Buddy program that was initiated in 2020 as it has allowed many students to build friendships over the sessions and engage with people from different schools. Our goal is to create an avenue for students to participate in our events, but they themselves can learn from the experience and strive to be better. It could also be a stepping stone for them to recognize what they're truly passionate about.
So memorable experiences and long-lasting moments, that is something that me and Mingya, we believe in specifically, and especially since university is going to be the last point in which a majority of our students will be experiencing before going out into the reality of the real world. And it's true that there will be a lot of moments in life, but to make those moments stand up and stand out, and to be one of those special, unforgettable moments, is the impression that we want to strive for and to leave the students with, especially both for the Monash students in this community and even inclusive of our hardworking peers in the MUSA office. So what we want is to provide the best experience for our Monashians through our vibrant and outgoing events that we can't wait to integrate next year. We are here for the students, and we hope that you'll cast your vote wisely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia Siu and Yap Meng Ya. That was Sonia Siu and Yap Meng Ya running independently, guys. That was their opening statement. Now it is time for Carolyn Toon and Dominic Gerald from Ignovitus to talk about their manifesto in their opening statement.
All right, I would start. Good afternoon to our fellow Monashians that is here today in good spirits. My name is Dominic Gerald.
And my name is Carolyn Jomyo-Chun.
And we are running for the position of Activities Chairperson from the party Ignovitus. My name is Dominic, and I'm currently a Year 2 Sem 1 student in the School of Business, and I'm currently leading a nonprofit that stands for equality of education in Indonesia, recognized by the Indonesian government as a project director or equivalent as a vice president. As such, I'm experienced in leading projects from end to end, from ideation to execution, and also fundraising and sponsorship for this certain event. I've also experienced as a marketing and operations lead at another nonprofit in Indonesia. And inside Monash, I'm also part of the MUSA Faculty of Business and also the Business Club Events Subcommittee.
So, hi, my name is Carolyn, and I am a Year 2 Semester 2 student from the School of Business. So, I have been actively engaged in extracurriculars both inside and outside of Monash. So, outside of Monash, I am involved in leading a team and preparing to execute marketing efforts for a nonprofit organization to raise awareness about the brutal dictatorship in Myanmar. So I was also head girl and part of my student council for 3 straight years in my high school, wherein I helped in planning events, and was also captain and coach of the Model United Nations team, where I helped lead and organize school-wide Model UN conferences. So as for Monash-related extracurriculars, I am currently part of the School of Business Subcommittee alongside Dominic as an operations officer, where I am well-versed in planning and executing events. So I co-led and spearheaded the orientation mingle night for this semester. And furthermore, I am also an activities assistant director for the Monash Business Club, where I liaise with external stakeholders, planned and carried out workshops, as well as the current recent bazaar, where we were in charge of contacting vendors and bazaar planning for the recent Monash Cup and MBC Bazaar collaboration. So, as part of the Monash community, we are ready and proud to be given the chance to serve the community around us. If elected as activities chairpersons, we strive to ensure that you, as a student, will be able to feel connected with all other Monashians, and immerse yourselves into the true university experience through the events and initiatives that we have planned.
Such events we have planned but are not limited to are, depending on the policies being implemented and changed, starting from the first semester, we would like to bring back the orientation bash for freshies to be able to make friends with other freshmen. If not feasible, we would like to implement an orientation carnival, similar to the one that had in Monash, Australia. So overall, students can have a chance to unwind through games and music.
So, as for the flagship events, the events that we have planned are number one, the Cultural Showcase Festival, in conjunction with cultural Siena societies, leading up to MUSA's very own One World event to unify all Monashians from all backgrounds. So, we will have booths showcasing different cultures and their foods to foster a sense of how diverse Monashians really are. And number two, we would plan on having the mid-semester Monash Bazaar, where we will have a theme bazaar based on contemporary trends, so Monashian vendors can have a chance to showcase their goods. So all of these are based on what we have observed from the bazaars this semester that have greatly enhanced student satisfaction.
In order to keep a consistent flow between semester 1, 2, and the summer semester, we want to make sure to carry out small and fun initiatives throughout the whole academic year, like big sales and fundraiser through all of the semester, aimed at providing joy and stress relief from the heavy, intensive Monash workload.
So, other than events as well, we would like to further leverage through standardization and make the most out of the Monash Buddy program as a platform to make friends while utilizing hybrid platforms as well. So, we would also like to pursue further collaboration with other clubs in Monash to make sure that students get the most out of the Monash Buddy program.
We also noticed some overarching problem, such as financing and budgeting, which is affecting MUSA currently as a whole. As such, we are planning to alleviate the limited budget by collaborating with other divisions to pool finances together for events. Furthermore, we are also planning to secure more sponsorship from external stakeholders and brands for events such as Monash Ball. Another improvement we like to make is currently the marketing and publicity of events, as we believe that some of the events currently do not receive enough publicity. Therefore, we would like to work closer with the publicity officer to promote future events and Monga to publicize our past events.
So, once again, as students, for the students, we hope to be able to carry out and implement our ideas to better serve Monashians. Thank you, and we're looking forward to the cross-examination debate.
Thank you guys for that wonderful opening statement. Audience, that was Dominic Gerald and Carolyn Toon from Ignovitus with their opening statement on why they should be elected for the position of Activities Chairperson. Now, without further ado, it's time to move on from the opening statements of both candidates towards the question and answer or the cross-examination period between candidates. This is where Carolyn, Dominic, and Menya and Sonia are going to be questioning each other based on their manifestos. Guys, the chair is yours. You may go ahead.
Do you want to start first, or should we start
You
first?
guys? Okay. We can start first. Would that be okay?
Sure.
Okay, so all right. So I actually have this question. Considering that you are leading a non-profit organization overseas, it is quite a heavy responsibility. How do you expect to juggle MUSA if it's going to be one of your new top priorities upon your academics, your Monash Business Club, as well as this non-profit organization, seeing that all of this seems to be quite a heavy commitment?
All right, I would guess this question is directed towards me. So how would I handle this is I would, of course, prioritize the activities chairperson position, as we are in Monash together and we are voting for the position. So I would effectively decease all of my other positions, as they are not as important as this one is currently the one that I will be handling most. And for other stuff that I cannot let go, such as my academics, I will surely divide my schedule and timetable wisely so I can do everything effectively.
As for my part, the team that I'm leading as a nonprofit organization, it is mainly just publicity work. So it's marketing efforts, so it's not too much, and I can delegate the work to other people. And as Dominic stated earlier, if we were to be elected as activities chairpersons, obviously the responsibility that we have will be heavy, considering that we are planning events for the entire Monash cohort. So I will step down from my more higher positions into smaller positions with less responsibility, because we believe that we're given a heavy duty and heavy responsibility, and we'll make sure that the expectations expected of us will be carried out. Thank you.
I see. So if it's okay, I have a follow-up question for that.
Mhm.
Seeing that you're currently in the MBC, since you're both MBC members, correct? Or you're MBC members, right?
Yep.
And that you have a lack of experience in working with under MUSA Activities Department, how can you guarantee successful implementation and execution of campus events?
I'll take this one, Dominic.
Sure.
All right. So we are currently, yes, we're part of the NBC Club, but we're also part of the MUSA School of Business Subcommittee as operations officers, where we have a lot of experience in planning, executing events. So we believe that such skills are transferable because it is within MUSA, and it's not planning ideas is essentially this planning events is essentially the same. And given the fact that if we were to be elected as activities chairpersons, there would be a shadow period in which in which the current OBs would be teaching us, they would be telling us what to do. So in the sense that we will be thoroughly familiarized with the entire procedure, entire department as activities chairpersons before we actually step into our role. So I believe that it should not be a problem because of the shadow period and because our skills are transferable. All right, so we're gonna
That's it
ask.
from our side.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it from us
Right.
For
May
now.
I ask the first question then from our side? All right, so the fourth point of your manifesto talk about empowering students' voices. So how do you plan to do so to obtain such feedback from students, given that there are already a lot of feedback platforms in place? And also, how do you plan to work on these ideas to increase student participation rates?
Would you just go for this one? Can you take it?
Okay, sure.
Or
Okay, so to answer your question on our fourth election guide regarding empowering student voices, we plan to actively seek for new opinions from students regarding events that they might be interested in. Let's say, for example, we could have that question or poll set up during orientation week. And then after the event, we would like to have their honest student feedback to encourage and challenge all ideas that we have for continuous improvement. And how would we be doing this is by having interactive polls on most active media sites. So when you said that Google Form might be a repetitive thing to do since other department might have already been doing it. So we tend to make use of Instagram polls, which is more interactive to go with. You can just press a little button here and there.
a lot of people tend to use that too.
Yeah, and ask your questions thingy. You can just place your questions into these stories and then they will like collect it. So Musa Publicity will collect it and we'll just be asking the responses for them through screenshots or maybe like a Google Docs for us to share. And then we also plan to have an generally basic idea to have an open suggestion and feedback form provided for them but that was our initial thought for the students after the event since the perspective of the students as the audience will allow the department to identify to identify problems and for us to improve further in the future.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that satisfies the answer.
Should we go back to you want to ask
Yep.
the next question since I asked the first one?
Okay, sure. So regarding to your election guide, the second election guide, we have a question that is, are you in any way currently in Musa Buddies program or have you attended any of Musa Buddies program's event to confidently make suggestions regarding the changes that have to be made in this program?
All right, I would say I would take this question. So for myself, I haven't joined any Musa Buddy program currently, as I haven't known that there was a buddy program until recently on the election, as I believe it was not publicized enough. I didn't even know there was a Musa Buddy Instagram page. It wasn't taught in the orientation that I was in, so I felt I was missing out a lot of stuff, which mean that we would really want to increase the publicity of the Musa Buddy program itself, so a lot of more students can know about the Musa Buddy program. Carolyn, do you want to add anything?
No, if I believe the International Student Buddy Program had email blasts, but if I'm aware, I do not think that you need an interactive knowledge. You don't need knowledge, first-hand knowledge, to be in Musa Buddy Program to know what to add to it because it is the essential idea of it is to make friends. So I believe that we are well equipped enough, even without joining, to know to better implement changes into the Monash Buddy Program. Thank you.
Okay, we have a follow-up question for that. So, in your second election guide as well, you mentioned that you'll be carrying out small initiatives and events for the students. So, our question is, how can you ensure that the small initiatives will not clash with MUSA welfare initiatives, school representatives events, and other clubs and societies events, as their reach is usually to a small percentage of the student body? And what differentiates your smaller initiatives since other departments and clubs and societies might be doing the same thing?
Hi, thank you. So for this, we are not so we can say that confidently that all of these are catered towards a specific niche. So welfare would towards be for the welfare of the mental health, say for the students. Whereas we have ideas like World Friendship Day, where it's like to make friends, where we're just going to be handing out. So it's not going to be. You have to come to this event. You have to come to this specific place. So we're just going to be hosting things in the foyer, in the porch, so students can actively join. So, for example, we plan to have a world. We can have a paid in public session where anyone can just join and have fun. So these are small initiatives that anyone can join in instead of making it a super structured, super formal event.
Yep. For the small structure event, like it's not really the mainline thing that we want to do. So for this kind of stuff, we would encourage collaboration with other divisions and also other clubs and societies to make sure that this events, other than it going well, for them to also have a learning experience.
All right. So given that it's our last question, so because you both are in the current activities department this year, so what improvements will you bring to the whole acts department this year if elected? Improvements.
Okay, I guess this question will be targeted to me for this one. For as a current office, but is there any like okay. So as a current office bearer, there are some improvement or key changes that I would like to make for the following year, for next year. So together with me and Sonia and I, we would like to implement and push for more larger scale events since the COVID-19 restrictions has obviously lightened up. And this provides us the flexibility to work with student life and host more engaging and exciting events for the student body. Furthermore, in line of our manifesto, Empowering Student Voices, we would like to provide a platform for students such as our initial thought, Google Form, as their feedback is vital to assess our performances and the benefit of our future events. Hence, the data they provide will be used later on to gauge and improve our larger scales event and help us plan better events in the future. And we will also like to include, they are already included, just to make sure, but we also like to include more of our subcoms into the planning structure, as we would like them to learn and have the experience and to grow within MUSA so that they will have something to bring out to, after they graduate, so they can bring the experience and knowledge they have learned in MUSA.
Okay, I have a follow-up question. So, as an OB and subcommittee this year, why did you not implement these changes that you talked about just now, given that you are currently an OB and subcommittee?
So, wait, I was thinking. So, to answer your follow-up question, whether on why didn't this implementation were done this year, mainly because we just freshly transitioned from online events to offline events. So it was like during that period where we had to start to adapt from online to offline, and we were slowly preparing things. My current partner Nirain and I didn't want to rush things to to like have an event that won't be successful or messy for the student, just to bring it out there for the students. We want to ensure that our events will be of top notch quality, and to ensure that students will be able to enjoy them and not just be part of it just because we want to, make sure that events are done from online to physical. So this implementation will have to be done slowly and steadily so that everyone will get to have a good and quality time together in Monash.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you guys for the wonderful and productive cross-examination period. Now it is time for us to move on to the Q&A session by our office bearer, Nirain. Nirain, it's your turn to come up. You may ask them anything regarding their manifesto at all.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Okay, so I'm gonna dive into the speech portion before I move on to the election guide and manifesto. So, this one will be targeted mainly for Ming and Sonia at first. So, you guys mentioned that you planned on extending the invite for Monash Ball to previous years 2021 and some this year. However, last year's intake they did not contribute to the amenities fee, so therefore they would not be entitled to a Monash Ball. Therefore, it would be unfair for them to be included in an event in 2022. And given that we are only allowed to cap it at, let's say, 700 packs, how would you guys be able to deliver on this in that event then?
Okay, thank you for the question, Irene. Actually, in our manifesto, when we said that in our manifesto, we actually said it was a possibility because we did want to include those 2021 and previous batches because, it's only right, it's only courteous for us, and we do care about students, and that was the incentive behind that. It is a might, but if we were to extend it, if I have to clarify about it, it would be more towards we would have to see which people within that batch had contributed because at least in that sense we believe that people within that batch which did contribute do deserve that. So if we were to segregate it and specify to those specific students, since we do of course have to cap it, we would definitely choose those within that batch which contributed, if we were to put it in a priority list. But of course overall it is just a suggestion and it is a might.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, moving on to your Satu Monash initiatives. So that would, great initiative, guys. Okay, hats off to you guys. The only issue with that would be that it would clash with one of MUSA's initiatives, such as One World. I believe your competitors have also proposed an initiative that's rather similar. However, they've decided to collaborate with MUIS. How would you guys plan to execute this without the involvement of MUIS, without there being a clash of portfolios in the event? Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the question, Nirez. So to answer your question on how this won't cross over with MUIS is that Satu Monash is an event we plan to have next year to showcase Malaysian culture and traditions through food bazaar, traditional performance, and traditional clothes. This event was inspired by one of Malaysia's iconic program known as Satu Malaysia, with the stated goal of promoting ethnic harmony and unity. As such, this event will definitely provide exposure to the international students who aren't already familiar with our Malaysian culture. And of course, in order to ensure that there's a harmonious unity among nations, we intend to actually have this event in collaborations with the MUIS department. They can integrate their international cultures into this event by sharing their traditional food, clothing, traditional games, and performances. And it will be a fun and knowledgeable event as we can encourage the students to wear their favorite traditional clothing to campus and exchange words of appreciation regarding each other's traditional clothing. And the reason why this wouldn't be in clash with the Muis's Monash Cultural Night and their events is because we want to showcase more on the Malaysian local traditions itself because we feel like there were lack of these events this year. Although there were some international like such as the Monash Cultural Night that is going through right now, the promotions that are going through right now, we feel like we should at least be able to instill a sense of Malaysian culture into our events next year.
If I can add on from that, if to clarify, MUIS is also more focused on the international student side, so no one really juggles the local Malaysian side. So for us, that difference is we're going to bring both the international students and the Malaysian students and that local culture both together instead of just having it as a MUIS thing and a local thing. We want it to be united. We want it to be a picture of it is bringing the whole world together instead of just international world and Malaysia. The idea is to have it both together, and that's why it doesn't necessarily cross with MUIS unless it's a collaboration, but instead it's one whole thing, international and Malaysian society together, and thus satu Monash.
All right, awesome. Thank you. That's a good answer. Thank you. Okay, so this would be directed more so to Carolyn and Dom. So I wanted to ask you guys because you guys mentioned, like, for example, your event that we will collaborate with MUIS for One World, And you also mentioned your friendship day, which with cute messages and everything. Um, these are both like these are great initiatives, no doubt, but they're kind of like treading into like moist and welfare territory. So I wanted to ask you guys, how would you make sure that like the events you guys have for next year will not coincide with like these other departments and just remain like independent or like unique in that sense? I would say.
Okay, can we have a moment to discuss?
Sure, of course.
Okay, thank you. Hi, all right. So first of all, what we decide is that to make sure that we stay within our own jurisdiction, what we plan to have like activities advisory committee. So although we won't be meeting every week, we just have like a short brief discussion to say like, hey, these are the events that we're planning. Please let us know if it infringes upon your jurisdiction, and if you would like us to make any changes, or if you would like to reach out and have a collaboration with us. And adding on to that, because we plan to have World Friendship Day and another initiative, which would be paint in public, which is just buying self DIY painting kits and just ensuring that everyone can have fun and drawing Monash or whatever. Uh, they won't really infringe on other territories because they're solely going to be activities for that is catered towards the entire demographic as opposed to a small demographic.
Okay.
Right, and also to add into Carolyn's answer, we also want to encourage collaboration between divisions and also in clubs in Monash, as we believe our purpose are the same, is to serve the student, but we just have different segmentation. So through our collaboration, we hope that we could serve that purpose all together.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Okay. This next question will be directed to both sides. So, for initiatives such as Buddy Program, essentially, which are very popular with students during the first few weeks, and the response of these events would drop during the following weeks, how would you manage it in such a way that you encourage students to constantly join the Buddies Program events as well as other initiatives? But yeah, using Buddies Program as the core example. Whoever.
Okay, I think I can start first with me and Carolyn. So we want to make sure that the buddy program is a long-term program that will satisfy student needs for friends and relations all year round. We are hoping to make a more regular standardized event that can take place monthly or bi-weekly, which already now is in place. And we would like to publish it heavier to the new students, but also to existing students, so that we would want the buddy program to be an avenue for students to make friends and relate to each other, no matter at what stage of university they are in. We would like to do this by encouraging collaboration between clubs and also making small collaborations between activity schedules.
Adding on to that, speaking from my own personal experience, I was a student from the October 2020 intake. So we had email blasts from like MUIS for their International Buddy Program. But looking back to my emails, I don't think I knew of what the Monash Buddy Program was because we didn't receive email blasts. So I believe that Monash Buddy Program is a great platform to make friends, especially for freshmen like me who didn't know anything that was going on. So we believe that the best thing to do would be, if feasible, to send email blasts to the entire cohort, especially the new intakes of whichever freshman is coming in. Because by then they find a platform like, oh, I can make friends here. I can actually go here and like share my troubles. So we believe that more publicized coverage, especially on MUSA, and as well as through email blasts and reminders, because personally, I don't really remember about events until email blasts and reminders are sent. So we believe that more publicized coverage and email blasts should be done because the buddy program is already very cohesive and a good platform.
Okay. Awesome. Menya and Sonia.
Okay, so That's a really good question. And I think one of those ideas that just sparked in my head is actually what we can do is that every week to make something different and also to include and expose the students to a lot more of what's going on campus is that we can have each club maybe have each week get represented by a different club and a different activity. Let's say, for example, week 2 is by MDFC, the Monash Dance Fusion Club. They can have a session, teach a few basic things to the students, and the week following after that, we can have a different club and where they introduce something else different. And this, in a sense, would be beneficial as well, since not only will the clubs get to publicize their own little talents and what they have to offer to the Monash student community, but it will also allow students, it will also maintain that audience that we said the Musa Buddies program was seeing a decline in attendance after a certain week, correct? So with this, it will help maintain that attendance since we know connections, since friends are connected everywhere, even within clubs, students would most likely bring their friends in and connect from there. So orchestra friends will bring their orchestra friends, club friends from this particular activity will bring their friends. And so in a sense, the attendance can be maintained and that would help resolve that declining attendance issue for for the buddies program.
And to add on to that, to ensure Musa Buddies program will be known to students throughout the entire year, we actually started Musa Buddies program. We actually introduced this initiative to students on orientation week itself. We included them usually on the last day of the orientation week. So technically students are aware of this. And because and because Musa Buddies program is an initiative platform of the MUSA, which aims to provide a space for students to engage, right? They actually have, as now we all know, weekly based events catered to the students that participate in it. With weekly based events and with their own social media on Instagram to publicize their own events, they basically publicized it enough to enough students, and students are actually aware of it. But to answer your question, to make sure that they're more aware of this, yes, we will have more. We intend to allow Musa Buddies program to have more collaborations with more clubs and societies, like my partner here, Sonia mentioned, and have other collaborations with Musa department as well to further publicize Musa Buddies program and to allow the other departments, like Musa departments, to have a fair chance to have collaborations with our current MVP, Musa Buddies program. Is there anything you would like to add on, Sonia?
No, I think that's all right.
Okay,
I think that's
so
all.
Caroline, you guys are encouraging what you call it, email blasts, and you guys are encouraging more collaborations with clubs, correct? Okay, awesome. Okay, moving on to the next question. This is more so for Mengya and Sonia because you guys included this point in your manifesto. You guys said that you plan on actively seeking new opinions and getting student feedback. So, as someone who was asked this question during my debate, like in my first year of running for activities chairperson, I was told that Monash students don't talk about this stuff in conversation. Students can't be bothered to fill in feedback forms, and suggestion boxes don't work on campus. Neither do QR codes spaced around campus asking for feedback unless a personal issue has occurred and this is directly impacting the student, let's say with regards to academics. So how do you plan on delivering on this particular point of ensuring of actively seeking for new opinions and ensuring to get student feedback? Sorry.
Could we have a moment to discuss on this question before answering?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, so what we discussed was to ensure that students will be able to provide feedback. I'll take an event that we planned this year, which is the Monash Got Talent. Monash Got Talent, we approached the submission participants through email, and we have all their individual emails together with on our list. So what we plan to do is, while providing the participants their certificate of participation or their gift rewards, their grab vouchers, we intend to use this opportunity to add in a feedback question or provide like a feedback form in the email itself, so they'll be more inclined to, let's say, reply to that email or put their thoughts in the feedback form, because they're receiving the gifts, so they might think that it's a courtesy to just reply a feedback form. So that would be the feedback form from the participants itself. But we will also want to ask MUSA Publicity's input on this, whether or not we can have a more attracting posters or attracting looking feedback form poster that we can post on MUSA official page to allow the students an opportunity to fill out the feedback form. It's not because not all students are interested, as you said, not all students are interested in filling out the feedback form, but there are some students who are genuinely interested and genuinely curious or genuinely wants to provide feedback so that they can have a better event, or for us to plan like a better event in the future. So we do think that emails or using Musa official page for those students who are genuinely interested in having a better event in the future, they will fill out the form. And Sonia actually has another idea too.
I think it's a good idea also to utilize resources. And right now, what our resources have is our committee and the people that here we connect with the MUSA office. Again, bonding is really important. Connections and networking is also really important here. So I think the idea behind how that relates to your question is that we can utilize the committee, especially since I believe that face-to-face interaction, physical interaction is more effective when we try to ask for opinions compared to something where we can scan, which is very selective. People can choose or not. When we interact with people, it's a very different thing. It's more getting it is more effective. So I would say we can utilize the committee, we can give them some responsibility, make them feel more involved in having them ask their own friends, their own circle, or even new people for them to connect more to get their opinion through that physical basis.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you guys. Okay, so I've got two more questions, one more for Caroline and Dom, and one more for both of you guys. So for Caroline and Dom, in your manifesto, you guys mentioned that you want to create events that are tailor-made yet ensuring they are all inclusive. Well, events here, I mean, under our department, they're not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing, especially if they're going to be tailor-made. So could you elaborate more on creating this?
All right, so by creating events that are tailored to the best interests of the students, definitely there's no one size fits all. So apart from like large flagship events like Monash Got Talent and Monash Ball, where it's catered towards the entire Monash cohort, but what we plan to do for like the best interests of the students is that we need sometimes to have events that are catered towards specific niches. So like for example, by collaborating with, let's say, MUIS, we can not only international students, it's more so international students, but also the entire wider community. And by having the painting, like we said, paint in public, we can definitely have people who are more interested and who are more inclined towards the artsy side come in and join. So, and we can have some bake sales as well. So it's for people with all sorts of interests. So it's not just like, let's say, oh, not because you're just solely an art student or because you're a psychology student. So we would like to target people from different niches with all types of interests that will cater to what the students want.
Yep, right. And in planning a lot of events, I'm sure there will be a lot of things to prepare. So for the Streamlines event, of course, the Monash Got Talent, Monash Ball, events that are basically falls under everyone's interest, we would put much more resources into that. And for niche, much more smaller event, we would put smaller and even uh, not much planning required, as it mostly would be a collaboration, or it would be uh, a collaboration with other divisions or other clubs.
Awesome. Okay. Last question from me. This is for both candidates. So, how do you guys plan on recognizing the contribution of your subcommittees? Because the weight of obviously the activities department with 15 subcommittees, they don't just allocate that for no reason. It's because it's a very demanding department. How do you ensure like the weight is not just on the subcom? Is yeah, because the weight on the subcoms is just as much as the heads. How do you plan on ensuring that they are well recognized besides their certificate and subcommittee T-shirt they get at the end of the year? Whoever.
Dom, do you want to discuss?
Sure.
Okay.
Hi, may we know who's going first?
If you guys want to go first, do you guys want to go
So
first?
we'll take this question first. Okay, thank you. So as the current head of the current activist chairperson of MUSA 2020, we would, as a head, I would, in order for my subcoms to get the acknowledgement and get credited for the work that they've done, what I plan to do with Sonia next year, if we do get the role, is that we would acknowledge whatever they do after, like when they're doing it, or after they've done the event. So after the event is finished, we would personally thank them, personally acknowledge them, and credit them. And give credit to them when credit is due. And besides that, we would also like to have a fun initiative, something that Sonia and I have actually talked about, is to go for subcom lunches or subcom dinners with them after every event. Like maybe not during the event day itself, as some events might end late, but maybe a week after the event where we get the feedback already from the students, or we've got like the acknowledgement from other MUSA departments. We would like to have a small lunch session or dinner session with them to make them feel included, special, and they're a part of MUSA, and not just as subcoms where we provide them work and they just have to follow with whatever we're providing for them. No, we want them to feel included, and we want to make sure that their feedback and voices are heard. So feedback form is also provided for our subcom as well, because we want them to provide us or let us know how we can improve better as heads, or how they can improve better as the subcommittee of MUSA Activities Chairpersons 2023.
I think also depending on the subcom, it depends how they want to be recognized, because I know different people want to be recognized differently. We're all different, correct? And I actually talked with some of my subcoms, as speaking from a subcom myself. I've actually talked with some of my subcoms, and honestly, some of us really don't expect much. For example, maybe during I think maybe an improvement that could be made was, like, let's say during Monash Got Talent, just to thank the committee, just to show the audience who was part of the committee, and just, say their names. It's just very simple thing. Although it's simple, it can make a big impact. And yeah, it really does depend on what the committee wants. But all these simple things, just saying thank you, just acknowledging the committee, especially after events when people are still there, would make that difference.
Thank you.
Carolyn and Dawn.
All right. So first of all, we believe in we believe in facilitating a warm and friendly work environment in which the subcommittees do not hesitate to speak out about whatever they're feeling, whatever issues that they want to solve, because they are not scared and they feel that it is a safe environment for them to voice out their concerns. So in doing so, we believe that at the same time, there shouldn't be a hierarchical structure. Like, we don't really believe in that, although we believe that boundaries must be established, because we are all students at the end of the day working towards the same goal. So what we do believe is that all of the subcoms should know what their duties are. So for example, external license manager, entertainment manager, marketing, whatever, they should make sure that they know their duties. At the same time, in order to recognize what they're doing, their contributions, we would make sure that each of them will have done a major thing throughout the entire year, because activities department is obviously going to be very busy, so that they will have a chance to talk about, oh, I did this, I led this, I streamlined all this.
Yep. Other than that, we also believe in the term of work hard but play harder. In this sense, the team is also work in a safe. They can and able to work in a safe space and with boundaries, of course, in the workplace. But also outside the workplace, we are also friends. We can collaborate on a lot of more stuff. And also work. So it makes a friendly workspace, but also focused and concentrated.
Awesome. No more further questions from you guys. Good luck.
Thank
Thanks so much, questions,
you.
Mary. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we got to get
Thank you.
Sean back in here.
Thank you, Alethea. Thank you, Nireen, for the wonderful questions that you have asked our candidates. Now, I think it is a time that we've all been waiting for, especially I can see in the comments, quite a few people are enthusiastic about the questions that they want to ask you guys. So it is time to move on to the Q&A session by the students. Without further ado, let's spotlight the first question, which we have from Aisha Inan. Carolyn and Dominic, You are planning on a lot of collaborations with other departments and divisions such as CNS, MUIS, MONGA, and the publicity officers. How do you ensure that communication will flow smoothly and conflicts will not ensure as there are ensue? Yeah, as there are diverse departments and opinions.
All right, Dominic, I'll go first.
Okay.
Right, all right. So, in terms of collaborative events with other departments, we believe that there should be cohesive and streamlined communication, wherein we will have WhatsApp group chats with all the divisions and departments involved. So, we will also be making sure that our subcommittees, regardless of the department, will be on board and fully active and involved with hands-on planning and even leading if need be, as we need as much manpower as we can get when leading such large-scale events. So, given also the fact that everyone participating is a part of MUSA, they willingly sign up to be a part of MUSA. Everyone is held to a standard in which to conduct themselves professionally and make sure that everything they're doing is for the best interest of the students. Furthermore, we're also large believers of synergy in the sense that we believe that carefully controlled conflict can lead to better solution and outcome for everyone involved, as opposed to everyone just agreeing and just leading to meager solutions.
We also believe that working together, not also in communication wise, we want to have an open communication system where not always our ideas are the most right as the best ideas, but we are open to new suggestion from other people that we collaborate with or even our subcoms. We want our events to be better for the whole of the students by the students, not just our ideas, but everyone's ideas.
Also, just one more point. In terms of in line with our manifesto, right? In terms of marketing and publicized coverage, in the same way, we would also have a group chat as this would continue throughout the entire academic year. So to make sure that what we want is in line with the publicity officer's objectives and MONGA, and that also in line with what the Media Affairs Committee wants and expects. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Carolyn and Dominic. Let's move on to the next question. Cheryl then asks for Mengya and Sonia. Mengya and Sonia, given your answer for why the ideas you mentioned were not implemented this term, would your response be the same in a very unlikely situation we have to continue another transition phase?
All right, thank you, Cheryl, for that question. Okay, so in a very unlikely situation where we would be transitioning into another phase, we would definitely be doing a lot to make sure that we are going to be able to encounter that. We did manage to do that for Monash Got Talent. We did manage to shift things back online. For example, our Monash Got Talent, the one that you guys had online, was quite successful. And it's not impossible to do things online, right? It's not.
It's possible to actually do things online.
Yeah. We'll definitely be doing our best to make sure that we can still cater the same amount of excitement, the same amount of experience that students will be able to get, even if it's online, because at the end of the day, we just want students to be able to experience Monash no matter where they're going to be, whether it's going to be online or not.
And to add on to that, there are already a lot of platforms, a lot of websites online that can be used to as an event starter. So we don't necessarily have to go back to Zoom. But even if we do have Zoom, we also have other initiative that we can plan just in case we're going to go back to the pandemic period. God forbid, touch wood.
Thank you, Mengya and
That's all right.
Sonia.
Do you have anything else?
Oh,
Thank
did
you.
you have more to add on?
Do you have anything?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Let's move on to the next question then. This one is from Lavinia Abirami. She asks, this question is for both candidates. Instagram is a good way to connect and update students, but note that a lot of MUSA's Instagram followers are no longer students in Monash anymore. How would you have a more wholesome outreach across the Monash student body besides using social media such as Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, etc.? Seeing as the common consensus is that engagement is poor at the moment, this seems like an important issue to tackle.
Dom and I will go first.
Sure.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so thank you, Lavinia, for your question. But first of all, we do have to also keep note that this all social media outreach falls within the publicity officer's jurisdiction. But given the fact that marketing, publicity, and events are so closely intertwined, we feel that it's also become a part of our jurisdiction as well. So the first point that we think that can work on this is through student ambassadors. Dom, do you want to elaborate more on that?
Yep, so student ambassadors will work closely with the Activities Chairperson and also our sub-humps in promoting events to their friends. So let's see it as a influencer inside of your own friend group. So they will promote events that activities make throughout the whole year to your friends. Because sometimes the main reason you don't want to go to an event is because you don't have someone to go with. But with student ambassadors, this way they can go to an event with someone while also encouraging other people to join. Other than that, we also see that Lavinia comment about wholesome outreach in the social media. We are planning to improve outreach in social media as well by collaborating with the current publicity officers and also Monga, but also create more marketing relevant content these days, such as maybe using TikToks or Instagram Reels, which are more relevant to teens and also Monash College students nowadays.
Thank you, Dominic and Caroline. What about you, Sonia and Mengya?
So an idea of what we have, or actually what we already did this semester, is that we can use small trailer initiatives. For example, what we did for Monash Got Talent was that we pre-promoted the event by having a bowl of candy outside of the library and tell people, if you have friends who are performing, if you are performing, or if you know anyone who's going to perform, they can just come over, take a candy. I think those kind of initiatives, those physical event initiatives where students can actually interact are more effective. I think that is the result that showed in MGT. I'm very proud to say that it was something that me and Ming actually came up with this year, this small trailer initiative. And also, we also think that face-to-face and physical interactions are going to be more effective as well. Words of mouth. We believe that delivering a message besides on top of social media can also help that lack of outreach, which Lavinia has brought up in her question.
And adding on to that, not to mention that MUSA itself has a lot of departments that has their own Instagram accounts, such as MUSA Women's and MUSA Cares. And in addition to that, we also have clubs and societies Instagram accounts that have quite a lot of followers. As you can see, the recent Monash Cup, the houses each all have their own accounts according to their houses, and each of them have quite a number of followings. So we will be asking them politely to share our events and details, and in exchange, we will be sharing their upcoming events as well. So this is like a win-win situation for both the activities department and other collaboration with departments or clubs and societies that have their own Instagram as well.
I think these small initiatives that we brought up in the first point are also very unique. They're more different compared to our usual social media. So that's also something new that me and Minya will also like to bring that's going to be unique and going to be more different next semester.
Thank you for
Thank
the
you, Sonia and
question.
Mengya. Oh, sorry, did you have more to say?
Oh no, we're just thanking Lavinia for her question.
Okay, yes. Okay, so thank you guys for your wonderful answers. I thought that was very productive. Let's continue on to the next question as well. So, Celine Yap asks for Dom and Caroline. Your election guide mentions your involvement in Indonesian associations. Are you international students, and why did you not run for MUIS activity or MUIS engagement?
Hi, so I'll be taking this question. So I believe that because Monash is a very diverse school, there is no discrimination against whether you're international or local students. So just because we both are international students does not mean that we solely have to run for MUIS, and that is a rather xenophobic and outdated way of thinking. So regardless of whether we're running for Indonesian or Burmese organizations, we both our focus is still towards the entire Monash cohort. We are still Monash students at the end of the day, doing what is best for the Monash students. Dominic, do you want to add?
Yep, I think the asker might be a little bit confused. We are running for activity chairperson, and we are doing that as collaborations. We do not plan this and making a country-based events or making it into MUIS, but we plan further collaborations to satisfy all student needs. As we believe everyone that is running for MUSA are here to serve students for the students. So with similar purposes, we just have different segmentation. That's why we want to serve everyone as much as large scale as possible.
Thank you,
Besides, we
Dominic.
believe that, sorry, can
Yeah,
I
go
add?
ahead.
Thank you. So besides, even though we might be international students, we're not going to be ensuring that our subcommittees will also be full of international students because we are going to ensure that there's going to be Malaysian subcommittees and we take into consideration and we value each and every voice and especially Malaysian voices, not only just Malaysian voices, sorry, but both Malaysian and international voices. We believe that all of these different diverse views and viewpoints can lead to a better experience for everyone involved. Thank you for your question.
All right. Thank you, Dominic and Carolyn, for the answer. Let's move on to the next question as well. So, Chi Min Hao asks for Dominic and Carolyn as well. Having so many events in mind that both of you plan to conduct and so many collaborations in mind, having only limited resources and a tight timeline, and both of you should know very well about this, how do you ensure that you walk the talk?
All right, I will start with this. Or do you want to start with this, Dominic?
I think I can start with this one.
Okay.
So I guess we have talked a lot about our collaborations and indeed future plans, and that will be heavy on us. But what we plan to do is we really want to plan events of a lot of future ahead. So like let's say 1 month ahead or maybe 5 to 6 weeks ahead, so that all the preparations are cut off into every week. So nothing goes into last minute preparations, ensuring that everyone can fit into their schedule and also work accordingly into their schedule. As we know, every subcoms and even as office bearer, they will be busy with academic stuff. So we want to ensure that nothing is rushed and everything is planned quite well and spread out equally. So for events and resources, we would like to share with other collaboration, so that the burden may be shared, but also the fun can also be shared by a lot more people. Carolyn, can you
Furthermore,
add?
sure. Furthermore, in terms of resources and budgets, we in our manifesto we talked about how we plan to secure more external sponsorships from other stakeholders and other brands. So by doing so, we are going to be alleviating some of the budget burdens that considered to if the activities department was doing alone. And by pooling resources in collaboration with other clubs and other departments, we can not only will there be the labor and the resources be split, but there will also be division of labor, easing the workload for everyone involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominic and Carolyn, for your answer. Let's also move on to the next question as well. So this one is also from Lavinia Abirami. Mengya and Sonia, based on your answer to Nirain's question, in which you said inviting former students was a suggestion, could you please clarify what in your manifesto are suggestion and what are actionable points?
All right, thank you, Lavinia, for your question again. So basically, in our manifesto, most of our manifestos actually is actionable points. I think what we want to clarify with suggestions was that maybe for our first manifesto for the external outreach programs, because as of this year, there has not been any university. What we mean by external outreach program is that we want to collaborate with unis. We want to give students the opportunity to connect in an even bigger pond. Instead of a pond, we're going to move to like a sea of networking to give students that bigger opportunity. And as of right now, maybe what your understanding of suggestions is because for suggestions is because we haven't done that yet. But it's because as of right now, we need the capability to, and if we do have the capability to, when if we are elected, we are definitely going to be pursuing this manifesto. So in other words, everything else is an actionable point. It's just that the first one is a suggestion since it hasn't been done yet, but we do intend to do so. That's why it can be, in your words, considered as a suggestion instead of an actionable point.
Thank you, Sonia and Mingya.
Thank you.
Okay, we also have another one from Ken Fong. For Dom and Carolyn, in your election guide, you mentioned that you will be carrying out small initiatives and events for the students. How can you ensure that the small initiatives will not clash with MUSA welfare initiatives, school representatives events, and other club and societies events, as their reach is usually to a small percentage of the student body? What differentiates your smaller initiatives since other departments and clubs and societies will be doing the same thing?
Hi, Ken Fong. Thank you for your question. So, as mentioned earlier, the initiatives that we have, they aren't going to be as well structured. Not well structured, but they're not going to be as formal in the sense that you can see what is happening on campus and you could join in. So, for World Friendship Day, you don't really need to sign up for anything. You can just participate and join in. And furthermore, due to the EMS system, we can see what events are being carried out and where. So, in the sense, we won't really be clashing because we also plan to integrate the MUSA calendar to see what activities each of them will be carrying out. So it's sort of like a MUSA activities forecast for everyone involved, so that especially that students can see and join anything. So by using the EMS, the MUSA calendar and forecast, we can ensure that the goals of our initiatives and their initiatives will not clash. And even if needed be, and we find that we are clashing, as stated when we said that we would use the Activities Advisory Committee to kind of look over all the activities and events that we will be doing, I believe that there won't be a chance for us to clash. Dominic, you
Yep.
want to add on?
And when entering the Ignovitus party, we gave the suggestion of a Google shared calendar for all of the activities inside Monash. So any activities that is planned and going on inside Monash will be known 1 month ahead. So all of the club's activities, welfare activities, and any other activities that inside Monash might have would be shared inside that calendar, and we can work on if there will be any collaborations going on. So by then, we know what to do, we know where to do it, and we know who to do it with. And the most important part is that we are doing this for the students so that any small collaborations, even though it's not a lot, we want to be able to serve more people. Even 10 or 20 more people is already good enough for us. As the happier the students, the better it is for us.
Thank you, Dominic and Carolyn. We are still okay on time, but I think we will have to ask maybe the last two questions. So let's move on. This one is also from Shi Min Hao. So Min Hao asks a follow-up questions. Since you have mentioned about spread out labor, in the case where the other party is very passive, which can pose as a challenge when it comes to labor sharing, how would you make sure that both of you are able to get the other party going in aiding you to execute the events?
We're gonna have a moment to discuss this. Thank you. Dom, do you want to go first?
All right. So for this question, we want to make sure that all of the things that need to be prepared for an event is prepared uh, in a spread out and good manner. So we want to implement a system of what can be worked on, future things that we need to be worked on, and stuff that has already been worked on. Because I'm pretty sure in planning an event, not everything you can do in 2 weeks before. There are some last minute changes, last minute stuff that you need to do. Of course, marketing will only turn on 2 weeks before the event, but maybe stuff like planning the event itself would be like 6 weeks or 5 weeks ahead. So stuff that is segmented and prepared accordingly to the time that what how near the event is. Really?
Right. So we also plan to have like weekly catch-ups because, especially because it's different departments, people will be doing different things of their own, planning differently. So by having weekly meetings, most preferably offline, because offline usually you get the most work done and it's easier to communicate with people. So by having offline meetings, weekly meetings where you can ensure that all the tasks are being all the ad hoc tasks being assigned, everyone knows what they're doing, so as well as having a shared document which is given, but to make sure that everyone knows of their duties, and by having weekly meetings to ensure that everyone is on the same page and everyone knows what they're doing. So thank you for the question, Minha.
Thank you, Dominic and Caroline. Let's move on to our last question of today's debate session. For both candidates, how will you ensure that large-scale events have a high production quality? Do you have the required experience to do so? And if not, how will you make up for it?
Can we answer the question first?
Yes, you may.
Okay, so thank you, Ignore the Grapefruit, for your question.
Okay, so I think I'll take this question. As of right now, maybe I can just prove it to you with what I have done recently, which is basically DNI week. DNI week, we didn't really need to have to spend a lot of money to give students what they want. For example, the idea which I actually came up with this DNI week was the rosy words, the beads, as well as the photo booth, all which was actually done under careful budgeting. And even so, without having that large budget to do so, you can see that students still enjoyed it. So I can say that you can take that as the answer to, do I have the required experience to do so? But if it's not just, if it's just beyond, if it's also beyond DNI week, I also have previous experiences where there were budget cuts and we had managed to do quite a big scale event, which was also successful. Back when I was in college, we did a really successful sports event catered to the students, even under budget. We used sponsors, and through that, we actually managed to proudly say, my team and I during that time, we actually generated the most amount of money and the most amount of contestants and participation during that entire year. So yes, it is possible, and I will use my experience as that proof to you for this question.
Yep. And for our side, how do we ensure that large-scale events have a high-scale production quality? We want to make sure that every student is catered for the students. For this type large-scale students, I would assume that these events are events that are more broad, such as like Monash Ball. So we want to make sure that student experience is number one in this. So how do we make sure that? Planning, first of all, we plan far ahead. We want to make sure that everything is captured, and if something come up in the last minute, we want to make sure that everyone is available, not only for say one of the chairpersons, but also both of us will be available at the start, and also all of our subcoms to be able to make last minute changes and last minute upgrades, of course. And for required experience, I would say myself, I made events for 2,000 high school and also university students back in Indonesia for my nonprofit as head of sponsorship and head of events. So I would say I'm well qualified, and also in MBC and the MUSA Faculty of Business. Carolyn?
Okay, so I was beginning with my required experience. So first of all, I am currently an operations officer in the School of Business subcommittee, where I was the one who co-led and spearheaded the current the semester 2 orientation mingle event. So by doing so, what we've learned and the experiences to make up for it, not only that, but in assisting other events, we've learned that versatility and adaptability is very important, that because so many last minute things can happen, it is very important to not only have plan B, but plan C and even D if needed be, because we have to make sure that we won't cut corners and we will give students the best experience possible. So to go through every detail of the plan, everything that we're going through, we will have a lot of dry runs to make sure that everyone knows of their duties and responsibilities. So in order to do so, it is vital that everyone in charge, everyone has a hands-on experience planning it, will know of their duties and what to carry out. And furthermore, if speaking as both of us, as we have not been part of the activities chairperson department, we believe that our skills from the current subcommittee and all of our other relevant extracurriculars are transferable to to the activities events that we'll be carrying out. So thank you for the question again. Ignore it, grapefruit.
Menya and Sonia, did you have something you wanted to add on?
Yes, we do actually have something to add on, actually. Adding on to what Sonia mentioned about EDI week on having high production for the event, right? We actually did went through a planning process as well with the current heads, which is Nirin and I, and we did have a WhatsApp group for that, for this planning. We planned accordingly from initiating ideas, from having like 10 ideas, mini ideas, to having to narrow it down to 3 to work well with SL. We also had student life included into this, so that the event will have to be organized in manner, because this is going to be for the entire student life was involved, management was involved, so we had to ensure that everything was planned properly. And also not to forget to mention that we did have the help of other MUSA departments as well, especially our MUSA president this year, Dominic, who did, like the other Dominic, did help a lot with the planning process, with the execution, everything. So we do want to say that from executing the event, we all have to start from drafting, planning, and then slowly, like, what the word? We have to see we have to see which idea will be best executed, and we will always include our subcoms into this planning, because we do believe that subcoms actually do have a lot of input sometimes, and we have 15 subcoms, so that's a lot of words and voices coming into our discussions. Do you have anything to add on, Sonia?
That's all I wanted to say, actually.
That's about all. Thank you.
All right. If no one else has anything else that they would like to say, I think we are done with the Q&A session for the audience. I am very sorry if we did not get to your question, because we did have a very high number of responses today. But again, if you want to ask them questions, you're more than welcome to DM them on any of their socials that they have provided to you in the election guide. So without further ado, let's move on to the closing statement. This time, we will be started off by Carolyn and Dominic. Carolyn and Dominic, your closing statement this time.
All right. For our closing statement, first of all, we would like to extend our gratitude and thanks for the current office bearers, the election committee, and the audience who raised their concern by asking questions to us. I'm sure that there are still a lot of burning unanswered questions that we not have been able to answer at this moment yet. But we are more than happy to receive and answer all of your remaining questions in order to further address your concerns.
We deeply appreciate the opportunity to be on this stage this afternoon, and we hope that this could also help us grow stronger and improve as activities chairperson candidates. So as per our vision and manifesto, as you can see, we both are very enthusiastic in being able to serve the Monash community, and if elected, we can deliver the university experience that every student deserves through our events.
As the debates come to a close, I would like to ensure to all of the audience that this is only the beginning. If we were to be elected, we will do our duty to our utmost responsibility, making sure that every voice, concern, and hardship are heard. As we are in this together, creating community through activities and bonding for students by students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn and Dominic, for your wonderful closing statement. Let's move on to Sonia and Mengya for their closing statement and their last words.
All right, so Mingya and I are very grateful to be here today. We'd like to thank the office bearer for his time, to our other candidates, to the audience watching, and for being able to have this opportunity to just stand here today and share about our ideas, our visions, and even about ourselves. So regarding of the results, regardless of the results for the 2023 term, Ming and I will strive and do our part as current MUSA members under the Activities Department and serve the students as this is our main priority as Activities Chairperson.
Adding on to that, we hope that students will be able to resonate with the vision that we have in order for us to provide the best events and leave the students with, as we like to say, memorable experiences that will last them for a lifetime. Even after they graduate, it will be a story for them to tell to other friends, stories in their workplace, at the universities, even after their time here with us in Monash. Once again, thank you so much for this opportunity, and Sonia and I will be ending it here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. The Election Commission would also like to extend their gratitude to you guys for participating and basically everyone who was in this live stream with us. So this was the debate for the Activities Chairperson position. Our current office bearer was Nirain, and with us, our candidates were Yap Mengya Sonia Siu running independently and Dominic Gerald Carolyn Toon running with Ignovitus. We also have our next debate at 5:30, if I am not mistaken, for the editorial position. Our candidates are Ashley Lim, Jeanette Angela, Shetan Bhutia, Danelle Lap, Carol Marlena Wujaya, Sandra Sadris, and Natasha Chekpa. So we have quite a few candidates. That one, do tune in to watch their debates. We also have a few other platforms for any debate and election notifications, such as the Discord server, the MUSA Instagram, and the MUSA website, and the election guide, which was recently published. So check them out if you want to find out more about your candidates and about the election. With that, I would like to extend our gratitude once again and thank you for tuning in.